It's the countdown to Easter weekend. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our forecast across New Zealand and Australia. And this week, it's a little different to last week. We've got downpours in New Zealand and it's much drier over in Australia. So we'll start off in Australia with this big block of high pressure. The map today, the animated wind map we're showing you, has the relative humidity in there. So where you see the bright blue, like you do in New Zealand here, that's a sign of very high humidity, and that's going to produce a few thunderstorms in the New Zealand area. The highest chance for moisture and rainfall is in these areas with the brighter blue. So there's quite a lot of dry air across Aussie. That's thanks to a big block of high pressure here and a south to southeasterly wind that's a much drier one, which is moving across much of the continent. So it's a different setup to last week, a very different one with no big rainmakers for now. But you might notice in the weekend, things are starting to change once again. Let's take a look at the next 7 days of rainfall in New Zealand. We've got some thunderstorms developing over the next few days into the afternoons, and they're most likely to be around Waikato. So you'll see the numbers here, the rainfall totals potentially getting up to 100 millimetres in just a week. So if that happens, that's very good news. In the pink shading around it, and also around a big chunk of the South Island, 50, 60 millimetres. So, I mean, a lot of places are going to get some good downpours, but unfortunately, hit and miss nature means that not everyone will get them. Some in the east, your rainfall totals are much lower, especially down here. Some of you might only get 5 to 10 millimetres over the next week. That's New Zealand's rainfall. Aussie's rainfall is much lower, but you will see a few showers up around the eastern side, but nothing like last week. So this is the outlook for Tuesday. You can see the subtropical flow coming down over the North Island, those northerlies helping to produce a mixture of dry spells, drizzle patches, and downpours, the 3 Ds. And so some of those downpours in the afternoon, we will see thunder in them. If you're trying to work out the thunderstorm risks, there's always a lot of clickbait in New Zealand with the mainstream media whenever there's even a hint of a thunderstorm, breaking news and all that stuff. Just go to Weather Watch and you can take a look at two key areas. One, we've got all the Met Service warnings, so you can sort of very clearly see on our warnings page where the severe ones might form. But even then, we've got a lightning and thunderstorms page as well at Weather Watch, which shows you the risks in a color code, sort of, you know, green, blue, orange, red, that sort of thing. So you can take a look at that and work out just roughly where these thunderstorms are likely to bubble up. The main risk is in the very north, and we'll also include in our 4 a.m. stories at Weather Watch in New Zealand, that infographic that shows where the thunderstorm risks are for the next day or two. There's a good one out today, Monday. So that is the setup for Tuesday. More of those downpours, fairly dry elsewhere, but there is this weak area of low pressure trying to move into the west coast, and that big high in Australia with the southerly flow and a couple of showers. By Wednesday, a couple of showers, southerly flow, that continues. Those showers aren't penetrating very far inland. The low is here, driving in rain. That's where Canterbury could be seeing those totals lift up for you. Very good news for you. And more showers, you know, drizzle patches, dry spells, downpours again on Wednesday, with a couple of isolated thunderstorms bubbling up once more. On Thursday, there's not a great deal of change, although that humid northerly is now out here. So there is more of a southerly flow coming around on Thursday that will drop temperatures in the South Island. It'll bring in another burst of rain and showers around Canterbury, or at least continue it. That's why your rainfall totals are getting up, you know, 50 millimetres. So that's quite a bit for you. The southerly winds will drop the temperatures, ease the humidity, and the big high moving in around Sydney. Still a couple of showers further to the north, mostly up coastal areas around the boundary of New South Wales and going into Queensland. Okay, Friday, Good Friday. There's a couple of big things on this map. In fact, there's 3 big things. We've got the big high coming out of Sydney. We've got a big windy southwest flow around New Zealand. And we've got a potential storm forming up here in the Coral Sea. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. So Good Friday is going to be a windy one in New Zealand. A very good day to sleep in, maybe, if you're not got other plans. The wind's going to be pretty blustery, so it may not be the best day to go to the beach because of those big strong winds, although it won't be raining everywhere. It just might be a bit windy. There is a little burst of rain moving up here on Friday in the South Island, and strong to gale force winds around it. Very different story if you're over in Sydney or if you're over in Melbourne. Lighter winds for you. Brisbane's got easterlies and showers. Into the weekend now, and that low, well, it doesn't really get a lot deeper at this stage, probably because of this big high, which is sort of pulling it apart. But the easterly winds come back in, and after the big rain event you've just had, more rain coming back in again. It's nothing like what you had last week, but it's certainly worth keeping an eye on as it pushes in towards you on that eastern side. Around New Zealand though, Saturday looks much drier and those winds start to ease. And our final map is for Easter Sunday. The winds return in New Zealand. Hello autumn, I hear you calling, because that's what we're seeing when you're getting, windy northerlies one day, windy southerlies the next day, humid airflows one day, colder Southern Ocean airflows the next. So we're definitely getting into that autumn pattern around New Zealand. This system here, and look, there's a number of lows all around Australia, still very dry, and with the high pushing back in again, this is not likely to be a repeat of what you just saw. In fact, there's a gap between that departing high and the next high coming in, which might allow that rainmaker to move to New Zealand. So if that happens, that could be then 2 or 3 weeks of rainmakers, and it might be a start of a sign that we're getting out of the drought that we've got in parts of New Zealand. We've been in very dry conditions for a couple of years. If that comes on through, definitely not locked in, but if that does come on through, that again will be more welcome news. That's all from me. We'll have another update on Tuesday with our outlook as we head in towards Easter.